Hi and welcome to Great Getaways and part 2 of our favorite hikes. We had so much video to pick from, it was hard to pick out just a few that we could fit into a half-hour show. Now, one of these in particular is my favorite forever, and I hope to get back there someday and hike it again. See if you can pick that one out and let us know. Right now, let's go hiking. We start today's show on the rocky shorelines of Lake Superior in the tip of the Upper Peninsula. Now, we're going out with both young and old today, but we're going to call this our senior trip. Now, our guide is 79 years old at this time, and he's still guiding into his 80s. Another gentleman that was with us was in his mid-80s. Now we bring it down to the level of Denny and I, not too far down. And then we've got a young man and his 2 teenage daughters. Should be a good hike. Here in the Upper Peninsula, we're out right now in the middle of nowhere, just about. We're with Charlie, and Charlie's going to be taking us out on a little bit of a hike.
Yeah, we're going back to a very unusual river. The Montreal River is a short river in the Keweenaw, only about 20 miles long, but it courses across the backbone of the Keweenaw, all of the big lava flows that formed it, and then in the last mile, it struggles to get through these lava flows to get to Lake Superior. So therefore, every time it breaks through one of these basalt flows, it has created a beautiful waterfall. So we're going to go see some beautiful waterfalls. We had a really nice rain last night, so the river's going to be full, and it'll be beautiful. We got a fabulous day.
We do have a fabulous day, and I know everybody's anxious to get going, so let's go ahead and start it.
You bet.
Looking at the map, it became apparent that we'd have a cool mountain forest on one side and the naturally cool nature of Lake Superior on the other. How could it miss?
Right through here is a pretty pristine place. I always tell the kids through here to watch out because there might be a dinosaur looking around one of those big old trees out there. Because it's like an old prehistoric forest.
It does.
You know. These are very old cedars. They're probably 400 years old. And they shade the ground so good that one has to fall over before anything else can come up under it.
As you look down here into the rocks, this is some of the lava flow that he was talking about. It would come out and form down further, and you would get these areas in between the lava that was a softer rock, and the waves have come in now and it's kind of cutting away at it. And that's why you get these points sticking out along the shoreline. Really pretty.
It was no easy task getting to either one of these waterfalls, as the footpath along Lake Superior is rough going at best. Blowdowns and foot-grabbing roots lie in wait for those who become impatient. But after hiking what was probably a mile along the often precipitous trail along Lake Superior, we finally came upon the first of the 2 Montreal River Falls. We were not disappointed. The lower falls is also the mouth of the Montreal River, and it plunges down a series of black rocky steps right into Lake Superior. From atop the falls, it looked to be at least a 20-foot total drop to the lake's surface. A series of rough benches in the rock breaks up the falls in a number of places to create the wonderfully soothing sounds a waterfall is famous for. As is usually the case, our favorite waterfall is the one we just happened to be visiting at the time. They have a way of doing that to you. But the powerful rush of the Montreal's whitewater meeting with the unyielding force of Lake Superior bordered on the sublime. It's been a while since we were affected in such a way.
We moved up the trail from Lake Superior. The first falls came in right at Lake Superior there. We moved up now. You can see the river has calmed down. We're getting into a really wild area through here. You notice the river too is stained kind of a brown colors from the tannic acid that's in the areas. But a lot of these cedars give off that kind of stuff and color the water this way. Up ahead we can hear water again. It sounds like a roar. Could be just some rapids, might be the other falls that's up here. So we're gonna head up and take a look. So the trail coming up the river is a little rougher. It's a trail less traveled, let me tell you. We're still following the river. We're looking for the second falls. We've got separated from everyone, so we're kind of out here alone. It's kind of nice, it's peaceful. But in the same respect, it's a little spooky. But that's okay, we're enjoying ourselves, and we're gonna keep going, see where it leads.
About a half-mile upstream from the lake and the lower falls is the Upper Falls. An invigorating and scenic footpath leads through a tangle of spruce and cedar trees along the river before revealing the first glimpse of the falls. Framed by more black rock, the falls are formed by water pouring 10 or 12 feet from a natural spout to a dark pool of water below. As if to rest, the river gathers itself for a moment in the pool before continuing downstream to the lower falls and Lake Superior. M26 runs up the western edge of the Keweenaw Peninsula between Eagle River and Copper Harbor. The road offers numerous scenic delights, including lookout after lookout of Lake Superior and its rough-hewn rocky shore.
Well, this is another exciting place that we've never been. As a matter of fact, it's where they placed the moose when they translocated them from Canada in the 1980s. Exciting to say the least, we got to spend the day with our good friend Todd Poyer.
Now we're up here at the northern boundary of the McCormick Wilderness. We're going to walk this trail down. We're going to cross the first branch of the Yellow Dog, continue over the next branch, follow it upstream, hit some waterfalls in here. At that point we'll decide whether we want to cut cross country and go down that branch of the Yellow Dog or take the trail back.
We're going to cross the river. Is there a bridge?
No.
Okay.
Some logs.
Oh, hopefully some logs. Hey, you've got somebody else with us today. Why don't you introduce him?
This is Finn. He is a Pomsky I just rescued about 2 weeks ago. He's about 9 months old right now. Full of energy. You got to take him out hiking, and this will be the longest hike I've had him on. Hopefully he behaves himself.
Well, that was one sweet dog, I can tell you that.
Time to start into the McCormick Wilderness in search of the Yellow Dog River and the Yellow Dog Falls. It's beginning to look like the hike will be a big part of this waterfall tour, being that they all love to hike and the fact they have a guide into the McCormick Wilderness. How can they go wrong? So they started into the backwoods not knowing what to expect, but by the look on Todd's face, I'm guessing he knows exactly what is coming. This should be an interesting trip. It looked like a nice, straight, flat path, at first anyway. Soon, they found themselves climbing steep hills and, like Tom is doing here, grabbing the trees for support to pull themselves up.
Bring us on a hike. You didn't tell us we were going into the wilderness, but I don't think we expected this.
It's rough terrain.
It is rough terrain.
Definitely, but it's worth it.
Oh, it's beautiful out here. It's just amazing, the things you see.
We just saw the bottom of the waterfalls. They keep going for a half a mile, and the best is yet to come.
All right. I guess I'm ready to get out there again. If I can get up.
Time to set out again in search of the elusive waterfalls.
Well, Todd, we've been on the trail now for a while, and it's gotten quite rough at times. And we're by the river, but where's the waterfalls?
Well, we made it about halfway.
Okay.
You guys getting tired already?
This could do it. This is a rough trail compared to what we're used to and what most people are used to.
This is a wilderness area. It's rugged.
It is. It's one of the big wilderness areas in Michigan, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you're right. I don't know how many acres it is, but it covers a large area.
And you are out in the middle of nowhere. I know. I'm glad we've got Todd here because he knows the trail. I have been walking along and I see all these leaves down that cover what trail there might be there, and I can't see a thing.
Going deeper into the wilds of Marquette County, the trail became a little more hidden because there was less and less foot travel. They soon came to famous Yellow Dog River, and to continue the trip it had to be crossed. Looks like it was time for the Upper Bridge crossing. Your turn, Tom.
Is this part of the Yellow Dog? Yes. Okay. Oh, what are you going to do? Sometimes you just got to do it. Oh, it's wet too. It's boat tide. You two running
After Tom crossed the waterway, it was a short distance to the first set of falls. They are stair-step falls going up the hill. As Todd said at the beginning, they are beautiful. After the crossing, it seemed like a good place for lunch. Tom, I think Finn is hungry too. The guys finished their lunch and took a little bit of time to sit back and enjoy the falls and their surroundings. Okay guys, it's time to pack up and move on. Up part of the Yellow Dog Falls where we are, most folks think that the Yellow Dog Falls are off Highway 510, and they make comments on how easy the trail is. Those falls are actually Hills Falls. We have taken both, and the trail from the north is much longer and much more rugged. Even at that, it only touches a small part of the McCormick Tract. So you may not see any deer, but your chances of seeing a moose are particularly good. In 1987 and 1989, the McCormick Wilderness Area received the first introduction of moose from the Michigan Moose Lift, which was done by helicopter. The reintroduction was a total success, and the moose thrive here today. So keep your eyes open and your ears wide listening for them, especially in the swampy areas. This was a trip to remember, and we've only seen a small part of this wilderness. There is so much more to explore, including more waterfalls, backwoods trails, historic landmarks, lakes, rivers, and old resort buildings from over 100 years ago, if there are any left. We have seen pictures of the granite bluffs that the guys want to climb for incredible views, not to mention the chance of seeing a moose.
Probably hear the waterfall out behind us right now, and Todd, you've got us out here to the falls themselves. What a trip out here. We didn't know what we were getting into, but Todd did, and he's been smiling about the whole way.
I'm running out of people who are dumb enough to follow me into the woods.
Well, you found a couple of more. But we've had a great time out here. This is the falls and stuff. You can only see part of it. You know, the falls is kind of drops down at Tears.
Stepped, yeah. It's stepped probably for about a half a mile up. Some gorgeous scenery in here, beautiful falls, beautiful drops. And it's real rugged, real unique. It's just like clefts in the rock. It's not worn through like a lot of waterfalls are.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And rugged isn't the word. I'm telling you what, it's rough out here. You're climbing up and down. I don't know where you can tell right now. We're probably at 45-degree grade. We're going down towards the falls. You got these needles and leaves out here, which are slippery. You got roots down here. You got broken off branches. There's a lot of places to trip.
There's a lot of places you can hurt yourself if you're not careful.
Yeah. Well, Todd, I want to thank you for bringing us out here. You know, Denny and I are always looking for this type of thing to go out to show people what is really out here in Michigan, because we have got just the gorgeous scenery that you can't beat, and you have made us come out here, and we followed you. I'm wondering sometimes whether we should have, but boy, it was worth the trip.
You guys are doing great, and it's well worth the trip out here.
Absolutely. If you ever want to get out into the outdoors, I mean really into the outdoors, this is the place to come to. Talk about a beautiful setting at the Fayette State Park when we take the trail that overlooks Snail Shell Harbor and the Fayette Ghost Town.
Fayette, located on the Garden Peninsula at Snail Shell Harbor, was once one of Upper Peninsula's most productive iron smelting operations. When the charcoal iron market began to decline in 1891, the Jackson Iron Company closed its Fayette smelting operation. It is now a completely restored village, including 22 historic buildings, museum exhibits, and the Visitor Center, which can be toured from May through October.
This is a really beautiful little area. This is the old smelting town that was here. These are some of the old houses. We're on the back side of the town right now, so we just have a few of the scattered homes that have been left behind. A nice pathway that travels through here too. So it's easy to get to with the whole family, and it's a great place to be and a great place to see.
The historic site is located in the Fayette State Park. Today, Fayette Historic Town Site is a living museum with many restored buildings. Visitors may walk through the buildings and learn about the life in Fayette during the late 1800s. Over 20 buildings are open, with restoration continuing on other parts of the town.
Well, the Fayette State Park is a perfect place to bring the entire family. Not only do you have a nice state campground that's here, you also have the historic town site that you see behind me right now. And it's got some trails up here too. Not long trails. There's one that's maybe 4 miles. It takes about 40 minutes to get around the trail itself, but the view is where we're at right now. We're up on the Bluff Trail. If you were down on the town site, you would look across and see the high bluff. Well, we're on top of it at this point, and that's where the trail runs along here and then back in through the woods. So it's a great place to bring the entire family into. Nice welcome center here, by the way, too, that you can go in and find out a lot of information about the area.
The park offers approximately 5 miles of hiking trails. The trails are groomed in the winter for cross-country skiing.
As you come along the trail, you're going to see all kinds of sights. Of course, if you out behind the camera right now is the bluff, which 100, 150, 200 feet high, I don't even know. And you look out onto Lake Michigan. Over here, it kind of slopes uphill, and you'll notice at the top there's a lot of rock outcroppings that are up here that have been worn away by water and wind, and some real sculpturing has been done. Okay, we stopped mainly because we're rethinking our hike just a little bit. The sun is on its way down. It's getting to dusk now. I don't know how long it'll be before dark. Also, this trail, and you can see it out behind me, how it obviously is not being used much. And it could be a little tough to follow, especially at this time of the day. Even though we brought flashlights, if you come out, bring your flashlight with you. But I think we're going to go ahead and stay on the easier route, head back the other way. And remember this when you come out, if you've got younger people with you, come out during the day. Unless you're experienced, I wouldn't even come out here at this time of the night. So let's get going. The cedar is actually quite stunted. It's probably very old, but what's amazing is how it takes so very little soil. It seems to grip right onto the rock itself, and it somehow stays alive. I'm not going to get any closer because I'm on a real downslope right here. I don't know whether you can tell that. And right where that rock is, it drops off a couple hundred feet. Now, the first thing you might think is, okay, why is there trees on the other side of it? Well, what's happening is the trees will grow out of the side of that rock just like this. And if you're standing over in the historical site, you can look over at this rock wall over here and you'll see just exactly what I'm talking about.
The Bruno's Run Trail offers a 9-mile loop for non-motorized uses. It's a trail I've always wanted to do, and we hiked the whole thing. Loved it. We're out here today in the Hiawatha National Forest. We're on a trail called Bruno's Run. It's about a 10-mile trail that runs through this area. Now, we're really not going to go that far, but it did have several trailheads along the way. We came over here to Grassy Lake,
pinned in at that trailhead, and we are walking along the lake right now. It's supposed to continue along the lake for a ways, then we'll head into the woods further, then we'll be over in McKeever Lake. So we got a lot of places to go, things to see, and hopefully get a little bit of fishing in. The trail winds its way past a host of small lakes etched in this relatively young glacial plain, taking hikers, bicyclists, snowshoers, and skiers over gently rolling terrain. One of the things you want to keep in mind when you're out here in the middle of the woods like this, and you're back in quite a ways, is you want to be prepared for it. Bring the type of gear that you do need. We're out here today. We're going to film. We're going to hopefully do a little fishing. We brought some food with us. But one of the most important things is, especially late spring and early summer, you want to make sure you've got bug spray to put on, because it can get bad out here with both ticks and mosquitoes, flies. One thing I do want to mention, we haven't had a problem yet today. I'm a little bit surprised, but it's been pretty clear, so that's a good sign. Now if we can find a fishing spot. Further along, the trail runs over foothills, along overlooks, and through valleys. The many lakes and streams in the area, as well as a variety of trees and other plants, make it likely that those traveling the trail will spot wildlife or tracks. If you are alert, you are sure to have an enjoyable outing. We're on our way back now. We went over to McKeever Lake, made it that far. It wasn't a bad trail. In fact, it's really nice out here. If you're looking for a good trail to hike on, this could be it. This is one of the prettiest I've seen in a long time. But we are on our way back. We found a little campsite on the way here. We're going to stop back there and eat our lunch, take a break for a minute, then we're on out of here. It was a great trip out here, though. We were on our way back and planned on stopping and having lunch at a spot we found on the way in. As soon as I said lunch, Denny put the camera down and pulled up a log. Denny, I'm kind of figuring that between our trip earlier when we came from Moccasin Lake over to Pete's Lake, and now we've done Grassy Lake over to McKeever's Lake, we've probably done a good third of this trail. And I'm thinking that maybe next time we'll go from McKeever on over to it's a little lake over here called Dipper Lake. Looks like a nice spot, littler lake than what we've seen so far, but super nice area. What do you think of it?
Oh, it's terrific. It's our thing, man. This is what we did.
Yes, it certainly is. It really is beautiful out here. We have been the only ones out here. We did see some other people over at McKeever's Lake, but as far as on the trail itself, we have passed nobody. Trail's pretty easy to follow, and it's, as you can see in the background, it's just gorgeous out here. This is a beautiful place to be if you want to get away from things. You know, one thing, if you look into the background and you can see it's pretty open, that just means if there's bears coming in, you can see them for a longer distance away, so you can, oh, like that one. Lunch was done and it was time to move on. You're gonna love this. I'll tell you what, I love it for two reasons. One, we got a beautiful site out here. We've got a little pond that sits out here, but we also have a bench. This is the first bench I've seen out on this trail. To be honest with you, I'm looking forward to sitting down for a minute. Come on up. The problem with coming out to an area like this and having this beautiful overlook and having a bench sit here is sometimes you spend just a little bit more time sitting than you should be. So we've decided we're kind of enjoying this. We're going to spend the rest of our time here. We're going to end it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this trip out here into the Hiawatha National Forest along the Bruno's Run Trail. If you get the opportunity, make sure you get up here and do it. I hope you enjoyed part 2 of our favorite hikes. Did you figure out what my favorite one was? Let us know and we'll post it on Facebook. If you'd like more information, you can always go to our website at greatgetaways.tv. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.